everybody. It's
Hi.
Kathy and Mark from Cinemondo Land doing a movie review, which is exciting. A film that we watched and we really liked.
And sometimes, I like it as a change of pace to see something that's not terrifying. Sometimes that's just real people. Usually, there's a murderer involved, but sometimes I want to see something that just feels that's sort of posits itself as a rom-com, but then isn't, and it feels more real and more raw and grounded. And I feel like that's sort of what this movie did for me. Is I felt like it was going to be a comedy, and then end up being sort of comedic, but it also felt you could feel the deepness of emotion in it. So I really was like kind of surprised by like how kind of profound it was in a lot of ways. So I really like
very much so. Yeah,
really
the film is called Breakup Season, written and directed by H. Nelson Tracy, and I believe it's his first film, or certainly his first film that I've seen of his.
Yeah.
And it stars Chandler Riggs, who we all remember from Carl from Walking Dead for many years.
That's the hook for me. It stars someone from a horror movie. So I'm like, let me watch a horror. So I definitely, it was weird. When I first saw it, I did not make the connection at all. I didn't recognize him. He looks very grown up. Then when I was researching it again, looking like, oh wait, this is Carl. Carl.
It's Carl, yeah, and also stars Samantha Isler as Cassie, Jacob Wysocki, Carly Stewart. Great cast. James
Really
Urbaniak, who is and Kaylee Rhodes and Brooke Hogan. James Urbaniak plays Kirby, the father, and I've always liked him. He always has small roles in films, but he's really good as this sort of quintessential sort of good guy dad, trying to make everything work. Yeah. But what I liked about it, and Kathy alluded to it, it's basically it takes place around Christmas time. This young couple that are in love go visit his family in Eastern Oregon, this country, beautiful snow, pine trees and everything, bucolic, gorgeous house, your classic sort of Christmas house. And it's like warm and cozy and all that.
You're expecting a Hallmark movie. They're going home to meet the parents. Everyone's so cute and perfect.
It's the Hallmark setup. But once you get inside and there's an initial dinner where things go sour pretty quick, that she realizes, Cassie, that she doesn't want to be here. She wants to break up with Ben, Chandler Riggs's character. And that happens very early on in the film.
I mean, it's in the title.
Yeah.
So we're not.
Yeah. But it happens in literally the first 15 minutes of the film.
They don't wait. But I also, just so everybody knows, there will be spoilers. So we want you to watch it first.
Right.
We'll save some of the heavy duty, spoilers for the end. But ultimately, yes, it's called Breakup Season for a reason. I love it. It's sort of like isolation horror, but it's isolation relationship where they're stranded. They end up being stranded because of a huge snowstorm. So they're stuck in the house. Well, she has a huge fight with him. She wants to break up with him. And I want to talk about the impetus for that too, which was also really well done. So then she's stuck for like days and the family's, everything's super awkward. He's sort of trying to get back with her and she's annoyed by that. And then the family's still trying to work with them and the sister loves her and wants her to get back. So there's a lot of pressure for her to go back to this guy. And we've all felt that with, old boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever. And then where everyone likes them is like, are you sure? Or they're either like, please break up already. It's like one of those. So at the same time, what I loved is they had, like you said, first of all, I very much related to that dinner because I'm also a vegetarian. So you get these people who try and trap you in your hypocrisy of not wanting to eat meat. And this is what I love. Jacob Wysocki. Is that his name?
Yeah, he plays Gordon, who's like the half brother,
the big loser brother.
Yeah, he lives in home, right? But he's a very real character. We've all known Gordons in our world, and he's the one that starts asking questions of Cassie. Oh yeah, how did you fly? You flew here on a plane? That uses up, blah, all this kind of stuff, and it turns into a very uncomfortable, horrible meal for her. And then later, she realizes, you know what? And it's just when you travel and you go, you think, oh, I'm going to go spend a week in this beautiful place with people I don't know. And then you realize 2 hours in, like, oh my God, what a mistake.
What happened? And, and there's that the super confrontational brother who starts an argument. And then part of it is like her boyfriend doesn't support her, doesn't fight back, doesn't defend her. Chandler Riggs' character.
It was more the situation that he didn't, he didn't
jump in.
So he wasn't. So his brother said, oh, wait a minute, you're a vegetarian now? I know why you're a vegetarian, because you're dating her. Yeah. So and so she did, he didn't defend
No,
her or even really sort of be real about it. He sort of was
for
milquetoast
himself.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that just like upset her, obviously. And later, I think it sort of kind of worked for me. I felt like
Yeah. No, it
his
did work.
character,
I just wish she'd
yeah,
been a little bit more prepared because you would be prepared. But again, she was with people she didn't know. She's trying to impress them. She didn't want to be overly aggressive. So it all made sense. I
exactly,
just was rooting
right,
for her to have the good answers. But
right,
then what I love is not after so after that happens, she's sort of like, you know, broken a little bit by that.
right,
Then
right.
when they go up to the room together and he's all trying to be sexy time, and he's not reading the room at all. She's like, I'm just really
Yeah,
tired. Like she's
right.
so disappointed in him. You could read it, and he's still trying to kind of not force himself, but just pushing his luck, I
He's
guess.
doing everything wrong in that
Oh God,
scene, and I'm
it's
just like, but
painful.
it's painful, and he does that throughout the majority of the film. I mean, he just, and
Yes.
you want to, and even people are saying, "Hey, man, just back off, don't
Yeah,
do
just
that,"
give her
but he
space.
can't, he
You can't.
can't. So
Gotta
it's a
fix it.
very,
Yeah.
it's a very real
Very.
situation,
Yeah.
and it's very uncomfortable. But there's also some really warm moments in it too, and I
Yeah.
think the all the other, the sister is very kind of like, kind of
Mhm.
a sort of very sprightly and sort of excited and
Wants to
fun,
be an
and
influencer.
yeah, it wants to be, yeah, and they become friends and they go
Yeah.
shopping together. And there's some sweet stuff. I think it's just a
Mhm.
very real,
Yeah.
when real people are get together for a week and there's this situation, there's going to be some good fun times, but there's going to be some
Mhm.
rough times. And how do you deal with that? And I thought I just really connected with me in some of my past
Me too.
situations. I was like, man, this is so, so perfectly, the tone of it is right on. It was really impressive.
It really was, and nothing felt forced. I love that nobody was really a bad guy. It was all very complex. You understood her awkwardness and having to she basically hid out in the bedroom the whole time while the family was like,
Right.
"What's she doing up there?"
Yeah.
But she finally
And
comes down,
Gordon,
but that's why she's hiding because she feels the judgment from the family, even though they're not really being judgmental, which was also kind of refreshing. Is that they were rooting for them, but they were kind of like, "Yeah, we get it."
Gordon is the big guy, the big half brother
Yeah,
who
yeah,
starts to
right.
become like more of a likable character, and you
He's that
realize
kind of a
what
big
he's
doofus.
going, and he's kind of
Yeah,
doofus. He's sort of funny, and he's sort of like
yeah,
a, kind of the wise ass of the family.
exactly.
And
Yeah,
so I just think it all worked.
it did.
It's very well written and well acted by everybody.
It
And
is.
it was just like it's really worth checking out. It's that
It
good.
really is. And it's not too, terrifying or, depressing. Like nothing that it doesn't come off depressing, comes off as complicated and you're rooting for them in a way, but at the same time, you knew they weren't right. I mean, she was way out of his league and he was not. He was too selfish and he wasn't thinking about her at all during a lot of this. Like just wouldn't
Yeah.
wouldn't extend himself to understand or any kind of empathy, and that was her whole problem with him. Like she gave a really good discussion about why it wasn't working, and he was just like, but and he kept talking about himself, and she's like, this is what I'm talking about, right? So
Right.
I love that.
He
And
had
then
this. Go
yeah,
ahead. Sorry.
no, well, I love that because because we're trained in romantic movies, we always assume all of this hoopla, they're going to be able to get back together and sort it out. It's like that's sort of what you're trained to expect. And you're like, how are they going to and you kind of are in a way. You kind of want that, him to come to realization of what she really needs and be a better person. But that's not how it works in real life.
No, I really felt like, okay, they just have to break up and eventually they'll both be happier. But the
Right.
thing is, the very first scene of the movie is just a shot of them in a club dancing. And it's only
Yeah.
about 10, 15 seconds, but it's
Yeah.
really like they're having a great time. They're like, oh my
So
God, they're
good.
totally in love. And this
Yeah.
is fantastic. And then you realize him in his mind, he's still back at that club because
Yes.
he talks about it later in the story. He's
Yeah.
still thinking about that one time that they met and they sort of had that sort of, instant reaction. But then
Yeah.
relationships happen and they change and they grow,
Yeah.
and you either grow closer together or you just realize, hey, we're really not meant for
Yeah.
each other. And
That's right.
she made that mature choice and just figure and probably knew about it long before this happened. Probably
Yeah.
should have
She
never
did say.
come.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she realized, hey, it's over, and then instead of leaving, the snowstorm happens, and so she's stuck, and that's the bulk of the film. But it's really good. It's I really a high recommendation.
Yeah.
If you're in this a move for a kind of a Christmas movie that is much deeper than Christmas at the hardware store or whatever and that kind of stuff. So whatever.
A hardware store. Hey, you should write for Hallmark. That's what
exactly.
So then, spoiler, like what made the movie for me was the ending. So if you guys don't want to know what happens at the end, go watch the movie. I just watch it. It's really good. And it's not too heavy, but what I think what really clinched this movie for me was the ending was so beautifully done. Like where he says she drives away and you're expecting to get back together. And then it's like, and then she was gone and she was gone. Like they just did this, like she was in my life and then she was out of it. Like I love that sort of like my life changed in this moment and now she's gone. I mean, I get goosebumps the way they handled it, such a beautiful, poetic, downplayed way. I just thought that just made the movie. That's where you knew they had a really firm grasp of the material. They had great actors who pull it off, very believable, and they didn't do the cliche thing of having everybody work it out. Oh, everybody's in love. It was like, no, they all did the right thing. People break up and they move on, and that's where we are. And I thought they did a great job of just doing that beautiful shot of the car driving away, and I think she stops for a second and then keeps going. So good.
Yeah, she keeps going because she forgot her keys, and the father goes out and gives the keys and just says something, and then she leaves. And then there's a quick little prologue of, epilogue of the three kids talking and like doing a vlog, and he's talking about how he broke up and how they've like we're just like I just cut her out of social media and we don't see our friends even though we live in LA. And then the last shot of him is just taking a walk in the country, and then it fades in a cut to black.
Yeah.
Like,
and you're sort of expecting the moment where they're going to get back together. Like she's going to come up down the driveway. And in a way you're kind of hoping, but not hoping for that. And the fact they did not do it, just, so good. I just loved that.
Everybody will move on with their lives because they all had relationship problems. The kids, and even the parents, they taught it's just like, that is the reality of life.
Exactly.
We can watch those fun Hallmark films where there's happy endings. They're movies. This is a movie with a realistic ending, so
and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But I love seeing the movies where it doesn't work out. It doesn't always work out. And you don't have to be all up about it. Like he had a very, like, that was probably his most mature moment, was like, this is where we are now. That's what happened. Like there was no I have to get her back or I have to run.
Because he was doing that for the majority of the film. I kept going, dude,
he's never going to stop. And then he stopped, and it was great. And so I love that because that was his big growing up moment. So the next time he's with a woman, he's going to be better. And each time he breaks up or whatever, every relationship he learns something, and then finally he'll take all of that knowledge and make a woman happy for a change. So that's where we are.
Yeah,
it was nice to see Carl all grown up having a relationship. I didn't need to see the tidy whities, but that's okay.
Well, as soon as I saw him, like, my gift to you is my, ho 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 underwear, I went, you are so fucked, dude. I am so.
That's not hot.
That killed me.
Read the room.
And it was so
like,
dumb.
Clearly, she doesn't want you right now. So quit for it. She's like, I'll just seduce her and make her change her mind. It doesn't work that way. Just so everyone knows.
And she was great. I've never seen Samantha Eiler or Isler. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, but she was really brought it. I mean, the whole cast did. So
natural. Everybody was really good. It was just a really enjoyable movie. If you want to see something different that isn't the usual like cliche thing, and you want to see something where you know the feelings and it goes a little deeper than most movies, I would give this movie a shot. It's really good.
Yeah, the theatrical release was November 29th, and it'll be available soon on streaming. So check it out. Great film, directed again and written by H. Nelson Tracey. I want to check out his other movies.
This girl, actually, the main girl was in Supernatural. So I have another horror connection. So we have Carl from Walking Dead and her from Supernatural. So they're my people.
They are. And I think James Urbaniak has been in a lot of stuff like that.
A million things. So good. So so let us know what you guys think. If you've seen it, put your comments in the down below, and I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about this movie and if you liked it as much as we did.
Yeah, it was a good one. All right, everybody, take care. See you soon. Bye.